Welcome back, homeboys and homegirls, to the StarCraft 2 commentary that lets your love unfurl. How's it going, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back, Force here from Force Strategy Gaming, and that was really random. Yes, it was. I know. You don't have to tell me. I'm sure I'll hear about it in the comments, though. So today we're going to be taking a look at a series here between BratOK and ATN's Socke. So we can see BratOK here spawning in the lower right-hand corner as the red Terran player, and in the upper left we do have Socke as the teal Protoss player. We will, of course, be starting out the series on Tal'Darim Altar, or Tal'Darim Altar, however you prefer to say it. And yeah, so going to be interested to see how this plays out. I really have no idea how interesting or not interesting or epic or not epic this series is going to be, but this was kind of one of the first things in my replay box that I took a look at today. And I like Socke, I like BratOK, so I thought I would cast this game. So yes, hopefully we do get an entertaining and interesting series. Be sure to let me know what you guys think about this, about my commentary, about everything in general, about life. Let me know what you think about life. I would love to hear about it. BratOK starting off very standard with that 10 depot and 12 racks. We can see building that barracks a little bit closer to the entrance of his base. Although it is more susceptible to Protoss probe harassment, it also is going to make it so that if he decides for one reason or another to go for early game aggression, reinforcements become that much closer. Back over here for Socke, we can see nothing yet, and he is at 15 supply. And are we seeing a crazy fast expansion? Yes, we are. So already I am excited about this. We can see Socke moving out very early for a quick expansion. Now, where's his gateway? Where's his forge? There is no early game defense, and that, of course, is a cause for concern. So let's see if BratOK can spot this and take advantage of it as a result. But it does appear as if BratOK himself will be going for a quick expansion. We can see right now sitting at 16 supply, and he does have no refinery right now, starting to pull up those minerals. He's also coming out with an extra depot to allow himself continuous SCV and marine production. But after that point, I am expecting to see an expansion. So BratOK himself, not opening on the one base play, is also looking to go for an expansion as well. So actually looks like Socke may very well be safe. Can see finally now the gateway is building. And then we'll, of course, drop that Cybernex core immediately after. There is that assimilator as well, so we can start that warp gate research as soon as that cyber core does finish. And there is a little, looks like Socke had to go to the bathroom with the PP. Anyways, yeah, so we go. BratOK over here coming out with that expansion. He is already sitting with one marine, actually two marines right now. Moving across the map, we'll be grabbing those towers likely, trying to get some sort of early game map control. Not knowing yet the fact that Socke had gone for an expansion, he could be worried about early game aggression. So that's why he's moving around, scouting that stuff out. He did just spot the expansion over there, and then moving straight into the main base, he is going to see, hey, look, Gateway is chrono boosting something else. Please check that Cybernex core, though. If he moves on over just a little bit to the right, he will spot that Cybernex core, so hopefully that gets over there eventually. And actually, it looks like, did he kill a probe? No, never mind, just re-rallying. There is the probe scout who did push in and did spot a marine and then decided to pull back at that point, pretty much ensuring and telling him precisely where BratOK was. We can see right now that wow, I'm dumb. That was for some reason I thought that this was the that was the Cybernex core. So yeah, anyways, yes, over here we can see one Zealot making its way through, meeting up with a probe right now. Zealot going to continue to move across the map. He will do very well against these early game marines, even with micro. As soon as that Zealot gets even slightly close within melee range of one of those marines, it does force him to pull back, and you can see right now spotting that was coming across the map, pulling on back to the main base, wants to re-rally with the rest of these marines, making him much more able to actually deal with that one Zealot. Back over here, second Zealot coming across as well. There's a Stalker coming on through, and that warp gate research. So here we go, first Zealot working its way on up the ramp, and will of course be forced to push back. Now without Stimpack, those marines will not be able to catch it. And nice play by Socke, pulling back and only losing shields. Didn't lose any of his base health there, so he is fine, no big deal. Going to let those shields recharge, and then he might actually push in once that Stalker comes into play as well, because then I think Socke may be in a good position to actually deal with this amount of marines. So you can see right now Socke continuing up that pressure, trying to push back those marines a little bit. We don't have any marauders out yet. One marauder is on the way. We can see a reactor going down on one of those racks as well. So here we go, two Stalkers and two Zealots can do really well. Socke, of course, just wants to micro back once the shields get too low. We can see right now BratOK forced to pull down with the SCVs. Will be target firing down those Zealots and then forcing those Stalkers to pull away, especially now that this Marauder is in play. There's no way that Socke can actually deal with that. Alright, so let's take a look here back in Socke's base. What does he have going on? Well, it does look like we'll have a total of 5 gateways, also coming out with that robotics, which of course we'll get that observer first to do some scouting. Even though that push did manage to do a little bit of damage, Socke wasn't actually able to push on into the main base of BratOK, so he has no idea in terms of the number of production buildings and everything like that. So he will of course want to scout. Taking a look, we can see BratOK just sitting with the 3 racks right now, consistently churning out units from those and keeping those resources nice and low. Also coming out with these upgrades, Stim Pack, Combat Shell coming on through, and then I would expect, of course, that Concussive Shell to follow suit right after. Obviously, in general, the unit composition of Marine Marauder as a Terran player will do very well against Protoss, so I expect that to make up a bulk of BratOK's army. Back over here, Sentry will be moving across the map. Here is that first observer, also coming out with a Forge right now, and it looks like Socke amped up to get his 3rd expansion very quickly as well. So Socke definitely risking it a bit here if he does decide to drop that right now. First setting place with that pylon, allowing him to warp in units to defend this once he does drop it, and it is in the process of building. Back over here, SCV Scout moving across the map and does need to be careful, walking right along the path of that Stalker. So see ya, SCV, with a little bit of micro. Socke has no problem taking that out before it can actually escape out of the range of the Stalker. And here BratOK is moving across the map, if for nothing else, trying to get some map control. I'm not certain that he will actually try to make a push, an aggressive push towards Socke's base, but trying to grab the map and get as much vision as possible. Does he spot that observer though? Looks like he wasn't paying quite enough attention, didn't spot that observer. Otherwise he may have dropped a scan down to take that out. Couple of ghosts moving out, very fast ghosts. I completely missed the Ghost Academy. In fact, I still can't even find it, so that's great. Where's the Ghost Academy? Did I just waltz right over? There it is, back in the bottom right-hand corner. So early game Ghost, and we will in fact be seeing some aggression, trying to take advantage of that. Those fast EMPs, being able to completely pull away most of the shields of Socke's early game units, especially way before Colossus are on the board. We can see that Robotics Bay is coming on through, but it will be quite some time before that first Colossus hits the map. So this push has a great opportunity for BratOK to do quite a bit of damage. Back over here, another Observer Scout moving across. We can see Socke has spotted that 3rd of BratOK, but here comes the push right now. Leading the way are the EMP and Ghost, taking out all of the shields there. And once he is ready, there we go, Stim Pack going down, chasing down some of those units. We can see Socke trying to retreat as much as possible. He does not really want to engage with Marines and Marauders while Stim Pack is up, and look at that. These Marines will be tearing through this army over here. Caught in a bad spot though, and a nice force field getting some of those units out of the range, but still doesn't matter with that Stim Pack. There are so many Marines and Marauders here. Socke cannot really deal with this much at all. Blinking back some of those Stalkers. Ghost will be moving on over here, and what are they doing? I think just scouting and maybe trying to work on the resources. There we go. Going to be target firing down a few of those workers, but here come the Stalkers to mop up the rest of those Ghosts there. Overall, would definitely say that was a pretty effective push, but let's take a look to be sure. Yes, it does in fact look like BratOK did come out on top. We can see Socke losing more in terms of resources in that engagement. So BratOK, that attack ended up working out for him. Some nice timing attack, pushing out with those 2 Ghosts. And again, we saw how effective those EMPs were. Overall, in the grand scheme of things, when it comes to StarCraft 2 commentary, I would have to say I don't see Ghost very often. And I'm sure if you guys follow StarCraft much as well, then you would agree with me. Ghost aren't really they're not that widespread in terms of their usage, and I would really like to see Ghost used more often. They're a very interesting unit. I really like their mechanics with the EMP. Dropping nukes is, I think, phenomenal. Not nearly as effective as it was in StarCraft 1, but I would really like to see that come into play more. The one big thing is it really doesn't do as much damage to buildings. You don't really see Nexus. I think it's an absurd amount. It takes like 4 or maybe even 5 nukes to actually drop one of these main buildings, a Nexus, a hatchery, command center. So that's probably why you don't see it used that often, but it's really good for killing worker lines. The one danger, of course, is that if the player's paying enough attention, they will, of course, check that mineral line first and try to scout that out and then move if they see that red dot. But anyways, that is enough of a tangent about me going on about Ghost. I just wish overall that Ghost were used more often. Back over here right now, looks like Socke will be pushing out with a counterattack. Now that he does have 1 Colossus on the board, a 2nd Colossus coming on through as well. Level 2 upgrade as well as that Thermal Lance coming out. Now back over here, as expected, BratOK sticking with that heavy Marine Marauder composition is coming out with a couple of Medivacs. Does he have any Vikings in play as well? No, he does not. So as such, he will have a harder time dealing with those Colossus. He will, of course, in this position, need to stim up and actually try to just move forward and target fire down the Colossus once an engagement does come. But without those Vikings, Vikings, it becomes a little bit more difficult, especially with that meat shield of Zealots and Stalkers in the way, and ideally, of course, the Colossus being in the back. Moving across the map right now, Socke will be fully aware of this. You can see right now in a response, pulling back with his units, because with this observer placement and the one over here as well, he could see that push coming, clear as day ahead of time, and again, still no Vikings on the board, so still sticking with those medevacs, and this could be a problem. Also coming out with an armory, we have the level 1 upgrades and a ton of Marines and Marauders being pushed out as well. So continuing the push across the map, BratOK will be moving into the main base and the natural here of Socke. Socke does have a couple of sentries, but I don't expect to see a lot of force fields, more likely just to be using those for Guardian shields, just because he doesn't have quite enough sentries to actually mass spam that force field and get a nice heavy wall down. Here comes a push right onto the third, though. Is Socke paying attention? He does have the Colossus in the front. There are the Guardian shields, as expected, and Stimpak and pulling actually away because not wanting to engage these 3 Colossus right here. Now, he does have a few units over here, getting a little bit of map control as well. Stalker's blinking forward, taking out those 2 medevacs. Very nice there by Socke, getting those free kills with nothing more than using a cooldown. But at the same time, here comes a drop. Needs to be careful, though. We'll take a couple shots from that cannon, and also warping in the Stalker to deal with this as well, forcing BratOK to just lift off. And is he going to lose the medevac? Yes, he does, to a blink Stalker. Very nice there by Socke. Socke is blinking across that gap, sniping down to the medevac that was already low health because of that cannon fire. Very nice placement by that cannon in general as well from Socke. We can see again, Socke has moved into a 4th right now. Still at this moment, BratOK just on the 3 bases, so will want to move into a 4th. We can see he is primed and amped to do that sometime soon. 1 Marine spotting over here, unfortunately not sitting at the tower. Will probably actually get dropped by the Zealot. Let's take a look if BratOK pays enough attention here. Small little engagement, might as well watch it. Nothing else going on. So the Marine taking 2 shots already. There's the 3 and the 4th, and losing nothing but shields. The Zealot pretty much went unscathed there. Back over here, Vikings finally in play, coming out with some missile turrets here as well to spot some observers. Those, of course, can also shoot the Colossus. Stim going down, actually forcing back the army. A couple of force fields dropped by Socke to try to prevent any more of a push from those Stim Marines and Marauders. Socke feeling that he did not quite have the amount of forces necessary to deal with that, and because of the vision of that missile turret, did a little bit of damage to the Observer. Observer is still alive, though, and sitting right there with just 6 HP, and actually, I guess BratOK doesn't know or just isn't bothering to scan that quite as of yet. Socke moving across the map with a few units. There's some Colossus sitting over there as well. And what is going on? Here's a 4th coming down for BratOK. So far, guys, just a macro-heavy game. Sorry if it hasn't been the most entertaining in terms of drop and harassment and crazy engagements quite as of yet. But this is a large-ass map, and as a result, you do tend to see some macro-focused games, and that is precisely what we're seeing here. The map is just so large, such a heavy distance. Look at these Zealots streaming across the map just for scouting purposes. Couple of probes moving all over the place here as well. I am really liking this. Socke just sending stuff everywhere, dropping pylons, sending Zealots, checking expansions, doing everything he can to get as much vision as possible with things other than just those observers, and that is just phenomenal. This is precisely the kind of thing that you have to do in this game. We can see also, obviously, this floating factory. What is it doing here? Well, BratOK's not really using the factory at all, so he's just floating this to spot this expansion. That's the primary purpose and the primary goal behind that. Just a little bit of scouting. Zealot will spot if any expansion goes down here. Again, the Zealot moving all over the place over here as well. In fact, we'll be checking, I think, over here. No, never mind. Pulling back just on an attack pattern right now. So yes, both players just macroing up. We do have the Templar archives coming out, so we'll be seeing some high Templar here from Socke. Also working his way up, level 1 armor, some more Colossus coming on through as well. In terms of, whoa, what's going on over here? No, just DT. Yes, DT are in play. 2 DT moving down over here, 1 DT moving into this expansion, but no, walking into the planetary fortress, plus that missile turret. A couple of DT walking right over here as well. They will cross paths with those missile turrets, so those will be spotted. We can see at the same time Socke pushing across the map. All of the Marines and Marauders pushing back to the main base a little bit. There's that 1 DT. Is he going to do any damage? DT over here will start trying to do some work. No DT in this expansion, but some going right into the main, so a little bit of damage going down to the SCV count at the exact same time. Again, we are seeing this push here from Socke with the bulk of his forces. BratOK moving across with everything just to deal with these DTs. So very frustrating. DT here in the main, already with 9 kills right now, and here comes the push right now. Stalkers, Colossus, Zealots in there as well, dropping the expansion, moving down with the bulk of his forces. BratOK, of course, does want to try to engage this if at all possible. And is this going to be a good position? Some nice force fields going down, cutting back a couple of those units. Vikings going to be target firing down the units. We're pretty Marauder heavy, but is it enough? It does not look to be, or maybe it is because of all these Vikings. The Vikings sniping down so quickly those Colossus. And wow, that Marauder heavy force with some nice EMPs as well from those ghosts was able to mop up almost everything that Socke had there. Looks like the DT harassment is still going on. Unreal, 24 kills. But even though he has done a devastating amount of damage, we do have to keep in mind that, you know, Socke did take a lot of losses. I think the one big thing that Socke does have going for him is that economically he is still fine. He is not taking a lot of economic losses, and that is a really good thing. Obviously, BratOK has, on the other hand, taken huge economic losses, losing a ton of workers over here. Losing this expansion as well was a big problem. We do have some more observers moving across the map. Any more DT? You know, looks like the DT charade has all but ceased right now. Now let's take a quick look here at the unit loss tab. It looks like Socke still in a worse position, but definitely even up the numbers with that DT harass. And again, unfortunately, that engagement just did not go the way he had hoped with those EMPs, with the fact that BratOK was so Viking heavy and being also very Marauder heavy. He was able to mop up most of the units that Socke did have. Most of those ground gateway armies just got completely rolled over, basically. BratOK looking to return fire right now. He does want to try to take on an expansion, pulling on down. We have a couple of charge rods being warped in, and then the rest of the forces moving down to get ready to engage as well. Some big storms going down on the bio, though. Very nice. Then changing right into an Archon. EMP going down, getting a few of those Zealots. Zealots, though, with that charge, still able to move right on up. Blinkstalker's pushing forward, dropping down that Raven. The Colossus does get taken out very quickly because of these Vikings, and it's just unreal. But look at the heavy amount of Zealots doing so much damage to those Marauders and Marines, and those do get taken care of. Forced to lift off right now. Socke winning that engagement there. Some more TT being warped in. Still not doing any damage quite as of yet. This one's just kind of sitting over here, sitting with one kill there as well. A couple of cannons just spotting the middle as a little bit of a deterrent. This expansion is primed for some DT. Never mind, there is a missile turret plus the planetary fortress. DT harass wouldn't quite work there. So this one DT will just be sitting here for the moment. Vikings moving across the map. Still some good observer placement. So pretty unreal, the chain of events that we did see take place. You know, that huge engagement, unfortunately, didn't work that well for Socke, but the counterattack from BratOK got mopped up very quickly because of those charged Zealots. A couple of nicely placed storms as well. Unfortunately, the Colossus got taken care of very quickly from all of the Vikings, but that Viking count is slowly getting lower and lower. Just sitting on those 3 Vikings right now doesn't look like any are in production either. So taking a look here again at the unit loss tab, you can see, although BratOK is in a better position, Socke is closing that gap. Let's take a quick look at the income tab here. BratOK, huge mineral advantage. Vespian, he is hurting quite a bit. Few Colossus in the mix here, tons of charged Zealots as well as those Blinkstalkers, 1 Archon sitting over there as well. Looks like we do have 4 High Templar here, and here comes a push from BratOK moving across the map. It was primed to take out this expansion of Socke. Also, we have an expansion over here converging on that, though, knowing at this point Socke is aware that this push is coming, so he will be moving with the full force of all of his army to actually surprise in the back here where BratOK is pushing. He will be moving right in the back. Nice feedback going down on that medevac, and here comes the engagement. Archon does get taken out quickly. We do have this Colossus, will do a lot of damage. They're being target fired down, though, by the Vikings and the Marauders. Guardian Shield going up. Blinkstalkers chasing down some of these units and pinned right in the corner. These will get taken care of so quickly. Forced to lift off with 1. Does he pull back in time? Blinkstalkers dropping the medevac again. So Socke, very nice play. He was forced to cancel that expansion, but we'll just be redropping it. He has this expansion up here as well. Take another look here at the resource tab, and now Socke in a clear, distinct advantage now that he has this expansion up and running. In terms of mining base, what does BratOK have? He is sitting on 1 mining base. That one's very low, and that one's very low as well. So sitting pretty much on 2 mining bases. We have only 2 mining bases here as well for BratOK, but he does still have some residuals over here. Looks like he is trying to drop another expansion over here as well, but here comes a drop at the same time from BratOK moving straight across the map. Factory still scouting out over here. SCV trying to drop another expansion over here as well. There was just a whole heck of a lot going on in these later stages of the game. We can see right now Socke is moving across the map looking to see if he can do some more damage, but here comes the drop moving right into what was the 3rd expansion of Socke. Looks like this will get taken care of with all of Socke's forces clear across the map, and here comes the base trade. That is what's happening right now. Just a few Marines and Marauders. Now I do want to see some warp-ins here from Socke to deal with this. He does have this Colossus right here, but looks like that is moving with the main force here of Socke. Socke moving down and also having a couple units engaged here in the upper right corner against another attempted expansion here from Socke. Socke will be trying to converge, but actually no, not dealing with that. Here comes the drop being picked up and going straight into the main, and Socke needs to be very careful because if he starts losing these high-tech and these production buildings, he will be in a lot of trouble. He is nowhere near the main base here of BratOK. He's just kind of dancing around the map with his units. I do need to see him commit to something and engage. Storm going down on a bit of the units, and here comes the engage right now. Vikings will be, again, target firing down. Blinkstalkers pushing forward, trying to drop down some of these units at the same time. Again, we do have this drop here in the main base, warping in a couple Zealots to try to deal with this, but Stim and Microing away should be able to handle that pretty quickly. EMP going down, losing a lot of the shields. Huge storms on all of that bio, shredding through most of these units, and Socke is getting ready to engage here. He should be okay to deal with these forces. It looks like he does have enough. DT getting warped in, yes, and dropping all of the forces of BratOK. He's just sitting with one Marauder there in that medevac. The continued push here from Socke into the main base of BratOK. BratOK is going to have a hard time dealing with this. He does not have much counter aggression going on right now, and BratOK is looking to be in a lot of trouble, moving across those photon cannons and getting dropped by the damage that they are dealing. An unreal turn of events. There is the GG from BratOK. Both players opened up this game with a fast expand build, which lends itself very well to a macro-focused game, and that is precisely what we got. Socke attempted pushing out early with 2 Zealots and 2 Stalkers, which was taken care of very quickly by BratOK by pulling down some SCVs and the strong DPS of the Marines, mopping up those Zealots and forcing back those Stalkers. BratOK pushed out around the 10-minute mark with 2 early game Ghosts, landing an EMP right on the main army of Socke, forcing him to pull back and then stimming to chase them down. With this, he was able to do quite a bit of damage. BratOK, with this timing push with those 2 Ghosts, was definitely able to lay the hurt down early game on Socke. Shortly after that engagement, both players moved into their 3rd expansions. And then at around 14 minutes, BratOK attempted another push, but unfortunately this time with Colossus in play, was forced to actually stim and pull away. At this point, the macro game really began with Socke moving into his 4th, as well as BratOK moving into his 4th. We then saw Socke bring some DT to the main as well as the expansions of BratOK and use this distraction to move out with his main force and actually take out the 4th expansion of BratOK. After dropping that expansion, we saw our first large engagement. You can see the scan going down, and here comes that big engagement. Now, the good thing was for BratOK, he was very, very Marauder heavy. These Vikings were able to snipe down all of those Colossus. That plus the EMPs actually allowed BratOK to completely mop up everything that Socke had here. You're going to see Socke be forced to actually blink back with those Stalkers and head back home. Now, although Socke lost most of his units in that engagement, he had done a tremendous amount of damage with that DT harass. You can see this one Dark Templar sitting with 24 kills, and that actually made it so that Socke was actually ahead. Realizing he was behind economically, BratOK pushed out to try to do a little bit of damage to one of the expansions of Socke, but Socke was ready, laying down some huge storms, doing a lot of damage to the bio, and then pushing forward for an engagement with Zealots, and then bringing the rest of his force as well. Because of that, it was just way too much for BratOK to handle, and he lost most of his units in this engagement. BratOK then tried a second time to do some more expansion harassment, and unfortunately, as a result, pinned himself in the corner here, allowing Socke to mop up his units. Now behind economically, losing most of his army as well. At this point, it was really Socke's game. BratOK then moved out with some drop harass and actually was able to take out the 3rd expansion, but at this point he was already way too far behind. We also had Socke warp in some Zealots and DT to deal with this drop, and at the same time moving across the map, Socke laying down some huge storms on the bio and using those Blinkstalkers as well to chase down some of those running away units. Socke just continued up this push, and that is what forced the GG. So thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully you have enjoyed this commentary. We will be moving on to game number 2 in just one moment. As always, guys, if you like the content, please subscribe to the channel. Keep watching and keep owning.